Happy July, everyone. We're officially halfway through the year, and I'm choosing to view that as a good thing because it means that the majority of this terrible year that has been 2020 is behind us. 2 weeks ago in my devotion, I mentioned that it is one of the greatest compliments that you can give us as a church staff that you feel comfortable tending your faith from home. Because the online worship experience, though different from being in person, is still worship. People keep apologizing to us about not yet coming to worship in person, and there's nothing to apologize for. Worshiping from home in pandemic is a great expression of the gospel truth that God shows up wherever we are. Whether that's in a pew, on your back porch, sitting on the couch, it's worship in person, worship on TV, worship through your phone, tablet, or computer. No matter how you've been worshiping, God's still shown up. For me, God's often shown up right out there in my hammock. We are learning to worship in strange new places. And I have to admit that the first time worshiping in the CAC 2 weeks ago, it was a different experience. I don't think I had fully processed my own internal expectations, and when it didn't feel like the sanctuary or Wesley Hall, I could have really disengaged from that worship service. I admit having our full team of musicians makes worship no matter where, makes it worship. But during the past 4 months, we have talked about biblical examples of times we're in, about how the exiles had to adapt to not having their temple, that without it, they literally felt that God wasn't with them. But we know that God's not confined to the four walls of the church, but that God still shows up for us. Early in the book of Genesis, when God first appears to Abraham, he's actually Abram at this point, that when God shows up, Genesis 12:7 tells us that Abraham immediately builds in that space an altar to the Lord. This is profound testimony that Abraham didn't have to go find God, that Abraham didn't have to search or pull out a map and find, right where X marks the spot, but instead, all he simply had to do was respond to where God was already present in his life, that he could worship wherever he was. So where have you been worshiping? I want to invite you to post a picture in the comments below of what your altar or your sanctuary has been these past 4 months. What's it been like worshiping from home? Surely there's been pros and cons to it. I'm guessing not having to wake up and rush and get ready in the morning, the ability to be able to worship in your pajamas, the ability to mute or fast forward might make your list. For me, it's been one of the few seasons of my life that I've been able to just worship with my family. Often in the morning, we'd go get Dunkin' Donuts, or I'd cook us some bacon, and we'd gather around on the couch with worship up on our TV. For the first part of quarantine, Sloan would be worshiping with us, learning to crawl. She would bounce up and down during the songs, and now as she's gotten older and her schedule's changed, she now naps during worship, which, if I'm being honest, is probably just easier for all of us. But just because we are offering worship in person, it doesn't mean that you have to come, or that worshiping at home is less than what's going on in the CAC. People are in different situations in life, and we are delighted to be able to offer these varying options so that you can make the choice that is best for you and your family during this time and whatever is to come in the future. So I'll talk to y'all later, whether that's in the CAC on Sunday or online on Facebook. Take care.